Quick story. As a student athlete, my favorite or go-to style was a ponytail or bun. In my case, it was a struggle ponytail. I kept my hair tied up because I had no time to create cute, pretty styles. Having things flying around your face is somewhat of an annoyance when you're playing tennis. After my years were up of being a tennis player, I became an assistant. And this freed up some of my time, and I actually started caring about the health of my hair. The truth is, my hair was damaged, y'all. It was breaking apart, it was falling, it was thinning, all of that stuff. I was really annoyed by how I had such thin edges. You could see through my hair. Not okay. And this was due to me, self-relaxing and coloring my hair. Sometimes I wouldn't even read instructions on the box because I've done it a couple of times. I know what I'm doing. The natural hair community, oftentimes I get asked which path one should choose. Big chop, transition. Today I want to share a few things one should take into consideration when making this decision. Many people I've talked to, blogs I've read, videos I've watched, focus on length when it comes to transitioning or big chopping or just being a woman as a whole. Length, we want that hair length. Hair is a sensitive topic, and especially for women of color. And for many years, unfortunately, we've been conditioned to believe the standard of beauty is long flowing hair. And I get it when people take their time to grow out their hair natural and then cut off the relaxed ends just so that they don't have to deal with the bald-headed look. So if length is a deal breaker for you, transition. I'm not gonna lie to you, when you're transitioning, you're gonna have to deal with two textures. You have the relaxed hair, and then you have your natural strands that are coming out. And okay, yes, I know that as naturals, we have multiple curl patterns, but I'm talking about texture and connection with transitioning from relaxed to natural. In most cases, relaxed hair, it's stringy, it's straighter. It doesn't need a lot of product. Whereas your natural hair, it's dry, you're gonna need to moisturize, you're gonna need to use heavy creams and stuff like that in most cases. Because it tends to dry faster, it needs an appropriate amount of sealants to lock in that moisture. The creams and butters and oils that we use on our natural hair just might be too heavy and overwhelming on our relaxed hair. The thing is, many people who are transitioning have to deal with your hair breaking off. Sometimes the hair just starts breaking at the point where your natural and relaxed hair meets. That creates split ends, that creates knotting. You're just gonna have to take special care for your hair. If patience is what you lack, well, this leads me to the next point because you will need it. Processes like detangling, styling, take a minute, take some time. Even just with your natural hair on its own. Now, can you imagine how much more time it's gonna take for you when you have two different textures? It's gonna take a little more time. Moisturizing deep conditioners are a must. Protein infused or strengthening treatments are a necessity. The styles one can do when you're transitioning are really limited because in most cases, many people choose to go for styles that help conceal that difference in texture. So many people are doing things like twist outs and braid outs. We're wigging it up, we're sewing it in. It's different textures, especially if you have relaxed hair that's straight and stringy and then you're a type 4, that difference in texture is hard to miss. So in most cases, when you're styling, you have a specific number of styles that you can do, as opposed to someone who has just one texture, be it relaxed or natural. That's just something to think about when you're choosing whether to transition or big chop, y'all. Patience is a must because it will be time consuming. I like how all my points are just tying in together. To be honest with you, from experience, the big chop sparks confidence in you that is inexplicable. Having no shell to hide your face under forces to expose all of you. Your imperfections and perfections are out for you and all to see. You fall in love with yourself daily as you notice things about yourself that you never even took time to notice before. When you cut all of your hair off without transitioning, when you just do the big chop, you force yourself to learn your hair immediately. Learning how to style and feeling comfortable with your hair is seriously quicker than if you transition. Transitioning slows down this process. In some cases, I think it actually does hinder the process. During that transition period, refer to the points I mentioned before, some people get super stressed because it's so much to deal with. Different textures, styles ain't coming out right, things just don't look right, and they give up and they just go back to the creamy crack. So I do feel that transitioning sometimes that does kind of hinder. It's not gonna happen overnight if you have insecurities about your hair. If the hair is a major thing for you, then, you know, it'll take some time. In many cases, you hear naturals, Black women as a whole, Black people as a whole, people of color as a whole, but we're talking about natural hair, but you hear many naturals complain and talk about assimilation, having to assimilate. We must wear our hair straight, if not wig it up or sew it in. We must try our best to talk, walk, be like them. I, for one, I'm so happy that I didn't have to deal with it, even putting into consideration that I went to a predominantly white university. Even growing up, I was pretty much sheltered and then punched in the face with a lot of self-love, self-appreciation by my parents. That's why it was so easy for me to make these decisions. That's why hair is not much of a trigger for me, but it's not like that for everyone. People have gone through some horrific stories, some horrific experiences, things unimaginable, unbelievable in some cases, but it happens. I cut my hair, I went to work, and everybody, my co-workers and almost all of my friends, except for Amy, loved the new look. They loved the look, they loved the feel, and yes, I let them touch. I don't mind. I really don't mind as long as you ask. I remember my boss, Judith, mentioning how beautiful my collarbone was. She called it my clavicle. It's making a comeback. I've been a little chunky lately. And I remember being in the mirror looking at myself and I was like, you know what? Yeah, girl, yes, it is beautiful. And I thought to myself, funny how no one has ever mentioned or noticed my collarbone. Sometimes not even I. I didn't see the beauty in this part of my body till I cut my hair off. That was a good revelation. And in some cases, sometimes you might have a bad revelation. The thing is, if you big chop, it's all gonna come at you once and then it's all over. Whereas if you transition it, you're just prolonging it. And you're giving people more time to talk you out of something you've already decided to do. I guess we could say for me, it took me taking a hard look at myself in the mirror and realizing and accepting that my hair was damaged and I had to do something about it. Health was more important. My strands were damaged and no amount of olive oil hairspray were going to revive them. I had to go ahead and do what had to be done. So I big chopped. Maybe my opinions are biased since I did big chop. Maybe. I'm just speaking from my experience and my findings. At the end of the day, only you know what's best for you. Only you know your surroundings. You know what you can take, what you can't take. You know your insecurities. So only you know what you're ready for. Either take the plunge or take the time you need to adjust for it. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Thanks so much for watching my video, guys. I hope you subscribed. I will be seeing you tomorrow, okay?